So, Mike, how the heck are you?
Um, Awake and not crying. That's my new thing.
Awake and not crying. Oh boy, one of those weeks.
It's one of those, yeah, yeah, it is.
Hmm.
It has been. So we'll just jump right into it and have some. I think this is going to be one of those like holiday month sad whatever. I don't know if sad is the right word, but
Can be.
emotions. We all go through it, and I think that's one of the toughest things. I mean, it's tough. Like, I mean, I know for you, you're in a different situation than I am. Where I'm not near my family. I'm not near anybody
Right.
anymore being down here. So it's kind of, it doesn't feel the same. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like my birthday was like 2 weeks ago and Christmas, it's the Christmas month and I put out the decorations and I put everything, but I feel like I'm just like going through the motions and I'm like, bleh.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I haven't put out decorations because I just don't do that anymore. So that's just me. But
I never did for years, and then the only reason I started was because my family made me do Christmas at my house once instead of my sister's.
hmm.
So they made me said that if I'm gonna have Christmas in my house, I had to have decorations. So I bought some, and then it became a thing.
Oh yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so we did, and we put up, for the first time like really ever, I think we put up lights on the house. So this year, I mean, we did more around the house
Mhm.
and tried to make it more Christmassy, but at the same time, I don't know, it just doesn't feel Christmassy.
Yeah, no, I can kind of relate. It's you know, for myself, I talk about not having family anymore, and I know I have my Spartan family, my OCR family, my BeastNet family, my
Oh
church.
yeah,
I know that. Um, and I have an adopted family at church that they adopted me years ago, quote unquote adopted, not actually like adopted, but um, and my more heart than scars, my Oscar Mike family, etc. But aside from my church family and my adopted family, y'all live, away from here. So
yeah.
I don't see you guys until race time, or if I'm blessed to see you some other time, great. Um, but with my dad being gone, it does get a little hard. And this was his favorite, one of his favorite holidays because it was right after, the month after his birthday, and he knew I was going to get him something cool. So he was always, always like, usually it was a knife of some sort, or some sort of
Oh,
tool.
I'll take those.
But
Oh.
yeah, he was always a. One problem with it was is when I buy him the first time I bought him a knife, I get a call a couple days later. Dad, gummit, David. What? I cut my hand with that damn knife you bought me. I'm like, well, idiot, don't cut your hand there. But um, it's I was at Walmart last night and I was buying something for my gym. Um, and I didn't need to, but it was something I wanted to bless those folks. And I saw something there that my dad would have liked, and I lost it. I started crying in the middle of Walmart in
It
Wenatchee,
happens.
Washington. And I it's kind of like you realize how alone you really are, like physically. And I, as my dad would say, I dried it up, wiped the tears from my eyes, and I decided I'm going to go do something nice for somebody else. So I bought like $100 in Christmas candy and took it to the gym of all places and put it in this big tub that I got there and just made this display out of it. And it was like, Whoppers and Ring Pops and chocolates and just, a bunch of Christmas candy to put a smile on somebody else's face. And
Hmm.
one of the guys there, oh, David, you shouldn't have brought that. It was candy to a gin. I'm like, I know, but every once in a while, people need a treat. So hush.
They
Uh,
do.
but it was something that just made me happy to be able to do something nice for somebody else and not be so worried about where my feelings are on things. And I found that to be. I don't serve others just so I get a kick out of it, but I found that to be therapeutic, if you will, because sometimes we get lost in our own despair, on our own sadness, and I try to go look for those opportunities. Like if I'm having a bad day, I try to go serve somebody else,
Yeah.
in some way or shape or form.
And,
And go ahead.
oh, I was saying that, and that's awesome. I mean, that's one of the reasons too. I think, like, I do, run with more heart than scars. I've
Yep.
done like a partial race with, Oscar Mike, when I joined you guys in Dallas.
Yep.
Um, I don't, it's one of those things I don't do it because I want people to be like, oh my gosh, you're so great. You helped. It's because you get that feeling. You get that feeling like I helped somebody else. I was able to help them do something they normally wouldn't be able to do. And I think for some of us who have, I call it my darkness. That darkness, it's always in the back of my mind. It's always telling me I'm not good enough and I'm not this and I'm not that.
Tell me about
I mean, you know what I'm talking. I mean, I'm sure
it.
we've talked about this before. We both have this, and I mean, a lot of people, out there do. It's that voice in the back of your head that's always there, that's always telling you, you could have done this better. You could have done that. You could have done this. When I'm serving somebody else, that voice stops.
Yep. Even for a moment.
Yeah, and like you said, even if it's just for a moment, and I think that's one of the reasons I went into safety. I go into safety, and I feel like when I'm doing it, and I'm teaching people, and I'm doing stuff, and even when I'm doing this podcast and talking about stuff, I
Mhm.
feel like I'm helping, and I get that voice kind of goes away for a minute that tells me, you're not good enough. You'll never be good enough, and it's tough. And you get people all the time that have never gone through this, like, oh, just block it out.
Oh yeah,
It's
because that's going to help.
it's beyond blocking out. I mean, it's deafening in your brain of
Mhm.
this. It's like being in a cavern and someone screaming it out, and you can hear the echo. Just, you're not good enough. You can't. You could have done better. Why are
Right.
you such a fat fuck? I mean, all those things. Sorry, Don, you're gonna have to bleep that out, but I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But all those things that you hear in your brain. Even when I dropped down to 180 pounds, and that's what people don't understand. I
Right.
dropped down to 180 pounds, and I still, in my brain, every time I looked in the mirror, I saw a
Person.
fat person looking back at me.
Hmm.
And I think that's one of the things when we help people, and I think that's one of the hardest parts for like me this time of year when everyone's like, "Oh, this is where you can help people the most," and it's like, I not the way that works for me in my brain. In my brain, it's a physical, like I'm there helping you is what helps my brain. If I go give blood, I mean that's one thing I try and give blood at least once a month. Sometimes more if I can because I do the plasma. So
Yeah.
in the whatever, so I can technically do that every 7 days. Um, but I can only because of my work schedule, I can only do it on Sunday mornings. That's it.
Mhm.
So I try and do it at least once a month. I try and do like small things like that, but it's one of those things where it's like, this time of year, it's a tough time, especially when all you see on Facebook, and Facebook and Instagram, it's all people lying of like, look how great my life is, when really behind it's a dumpster fire and everything's going to hell. But you see that and you don't see the dumpster fire. So in your brain, you're like, why is everybody else's life so much better? What did I do to
Well,
make
and that's
my life
something
be this dumpster fire?
that's something that my friend Sarah, and she's a beautiful lady, and she's just a friend, but awesome lady. Her and I went to coffee the other day for the first time ever, and we're chatting. And I said, she's a CrossFit athlete, and she's just a
Hmm.
complete stud muffin. Like, oh my gosh. I said I would love to get you in Spartan race because you just take the podium like every time. Um,
Yeah.
but I said I've seen your lifts and you're pretty impressive. She goes, "Well, Dave, I only post like the highlight reel." I'm like, well, I know that, and it's it was kind of funny because it was that realization that yeah, there's a lot of folks they'll post all these good things about their life. They'll post the highlight reel, and then you see everybody else who lives real life, and everybody does. They know that that's not. They know intellectually that's not always reality, but emotionally, it's where oh my gosh, all these families have all these people have families, or in the case of my friend Sarah, she lifts amazingly. I wish I could lift like her because I want to be like I, I said I want to look like you when I grow up, only not a girl. Um, uh, but my point is she's just like she's inspiring to me in the athletic realm. So I'd like to be a little more like her.
Hmm.
Um, and it takes you taking a step back and realizing that that's just because a group of people a family gets into a place, they take a nice Christmas picture, doesn't mean their life is all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of drama behind that, and uh, it's I mean you know about family drama. It's good
Oh
to
yeah.
have that family drama because then you build an actual strong family. What gets me is Um, and I'm sure I'm probably not the only one, but especially this time of year where there's this high emphasis on the family structure and
Hmm.
married people or people that are together, and it's almost like you're broken, Dave, because you're not with somebody. And I get down and depressed. I won't say depressed about it, but I get down about it because it's like I struggle in that realm. I struggle in the social realm, and it sucks. People will say on the course, "Oh, you're outgoing, and you're yes." That's just me projecting my own insecurities.
Hmm.
Well, I honestly, in my mind, I can't even get a woman to look at me sideways. Um, it's hard to deal with, especially I hate to say at the age I am now. It's almost like you lost hope. But, just like on the course, you put one foot in front of the other. You keep trying to better yourself as best you can and try to be an attractive person, to yourself as much as you are somebody else. And, you know, just got to keep going. And sometimes that gets a little hard to deal with. And,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, sorry.
Oh no, I mean, that's one of the things, it's tough this time of year. I mean, 'cause it's like you said, one of the things that kind of brought this up really in my brain recently. I mean, everyone knows that I do another, and recently the episode that I'm like getting ready to record is
Mhm.
about Princess Di.
No.
And when you start going down that rabbit hole, and everything we were portrayed was this perfect marriage and perfect family and perfect everything else, that's what was portrayed by the media.
Yep.
And in
But you
fact,
find out it wasn't.
oh yeah, until you find out it wasn't. And that's one of those things that really made me think, a lot about this. Like, I mean, we see from the outside. I had this whole idea that she was this like rags to riches, like this was a
Hmm.
Cinderella type story. No, she was one of the like families. I mean, she was
Right.
already a lady before they even met. But I mean, that doesn't change. It's just that they had this whole picturesque, like this is the perfect marriage. It's a fairy tale. And then you realize it wasn't. And
Right.
nobody out there has that. And I think it's tough because for some of us, we get that in our brain that why can't we have that perfect? Why can't we have that? And sometimes it's hard to tell people how you feel about things and what's going on in your brain because you're worried they're going to think it's their fault.
Well, not just that, but it's you also like I don't like telling people necessarily about my history because
Hmm.
I don't want them to think badly of me, and I don't want them to think um, that I'm trying to one up their suffering or their anguish. I mean, I'm not. I have my own, you know,
No, we all do. Everyone does.
and it's not. People will look at me and they'll think, oh, well, you're this person, you're that, you're outgoing, you're confident, you're etc. Like, man, I got my own insecurities of the wazoo. I mean, yeah, I'm just as lonely and insecure as anybody else in the world is. And I could sit here and we could spend an hour just talking about my family history, and it probably would curl some people's hair. But there's stories out there that are even worse. Everybody's got a story, and you have a
Hmm.
choice. You either continue to live out that story, continue to be downtrodden by your circumstances you had growing up or your circumstances you had before, or you do what you can to make yourself better and change it and do something about it. And like we've talked about before, in my own life, I'm nowhere close to where I want to be in life. Um, I'm making strides, but just I hate to bring it all back to OCR, but even like on the OCR courses, there's stuff I can do now I couldn't do 10 years ago, or 8 years ago when I started. There's things in my life now that I couldn't do 5, 6 years ago because I wasn't confident enough to do it.
Yeah.
I've had people beat me down who said the people that say they love you are the people that can hurt you the most. I've had people beat me to shreds because for whatever reason, and that's lasted with me forever, because they were people that were very close to me, and just decided I wasn't doing what they wanted, so they browbeat me, and I took a hit to my confidence and a hit to myself because I couldn't overcome that. And now it's getting to the point where even 2 years after my dad died, to the point where no, I can and am doing something about it. I'm
Hmm.
not the person these people thought I was. I'm not the person these people told me I was. I'm a heck of a lot better than that. And it's making that choice to say, okay, you got your opinion. That's cool. Peace. I'm out. I'll see you. Try to stop me. Go ahead. Come on. But
Well, it's like they say, the ones that love us, are the ones that we love, are the ones that hurt us the most.
right.
You aren't going to, if you don't like someone, you're really not going to care what their opinion or thoughts are of you. But the ones that love us, when they like that we love, their opinions are what matter to us, and sometimes that's what hurts the most.
Yep.
And it's tough. It's tough, especially, and I think it comes back to OCR in a lot of ways for a lot of us, because I think that's why a lot of us really got stuck on this sport because we
Hmm.
got into it and I've made this parallel multiple times in the podcast where we talk about how the obstacles on the course really simulate the obstacles in our life.
Oh,
You
totally
know,
true.
we learned from doing OCR instead of just, trying to figure out a way around an obstacle and to everything else that it doesn't help us. We have to find a way up, over, through,
Hmm.
just like we have to in life, because that's what makes us stronger. Going around is cheating ourselves and not, not making us stronger. So
There's sometimes I
in
gotta
most
go.
cases, there are a few that I go around. I'll be honest. I don't think I've done a dunk wall in like 2 years
Well,
because,
that's well.
yeah, no, no. It's like I tell everyone, we none of us need like the vaccines because we've all been in the dunk wall and we've had diseases that haven't existed in 300 years because they're in that dunk wall.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Dunkwall. I just the whole like, why is it? I got Dunkwall the last time I was in Dunkwall. I shouted out, "Why is it warm?" And people just like a few. You can see a few people laugh, and like a couple people over in the corner just freaked out. And I'm like,
Right.
it's not
I got
actually
s-
warm. I'm just kidding. But
yeah, I got one guy one day where I was like sitting there and he like went to help me out and I'm like, hold on. And then he's like, really? And I'm like, no, but the look on your face was amazing.
I
Yeah.
tuned in to hear
Or
that.
I've
But
been known to before to ask when the next P deep obstacle is, and then have people look at you like, wait, P what?
then it's what? Then it's what?
What's the next P deep obstacle?
Wait there.
It's basically water's gonna be deep enough you're not gonna see when I pee.
Well, there's that. He doesn't actually pee that we know of, folks. Just letting you know. But so
You'll
the
never know the truth.
yeah, I don't want to know. That's why I love these things like More Heart Than Scars and like an Oscar Mike is we're taking these athletes who I'll just say it, have a lot more to complain about than I do, honestly.
I think it
Um,
puts it into perspective for us.
it does. But to see them go out on the course, whether they need my help or not, and succeed, whether they get to that obstacle or not, they completed the course. Whether they get
Hmm.
to everything or not, they completed the course. They got a victory. Is just like it's so inspiring to me. There's So Florida, we ran with Team Oscar Mike, and we had two athletes with us the first two races, and we teamed up with More Heart Than Scars and Team Blue Four, and we had 20 athletes from the local VA hospital with us between three separate groups on Sunday for the sprint, and um, I remember one of our athletes, they got help to get to the top of Bender, and for those of you that haven't seen Bender, it's like a stair like a ladder, except the first rung is about 5.5 feet in the air or 6 feet in the air. And she got help to get up there, and she's just chicken winging her over the top. And
Hmm.
I'm sitting there looking at her, and I'm the whole team's helping her. I'm down below ready to catch in case I need to. And I'm looking at her going, I can't even get up that high. I'm too chicken. I'm too scared to even get there. Like I can't even. I can get to the first rung. I got to the second rung once, and lady, you're already beating me, and I'm a fairly able-bodied athlete, if you will. And I'm just like inspired because she like I want to climb this. I want to do this. I've still never gotten over Bender yet.
We'll get you.
Yeah, I remember, and there's a thing I'll talk about that in just a second. She's like, I can't do this. I have to come down. So the team helps her get down, and um, myself included. Helps her get onto the ground. And I remember her falling or kind of falling forward off the pads, and I just hold out an arm and I catch her. Now I couldn't do much because I couldn't get my tail up there. I couldn't help her over the darn thing. But I'll be danged if I'm gonna let her fall on her face. So like and she just held onto my arm for 5, 6 minutes, and while she was breathing hard, and all I could think of doing was saying, "I got you. It's okay. Just breathe." I was like, I can't I can't help you up there, but I'm at least gonna try to help you down here. I'm at least gonna give you a
Yeah.
hand. And not the point is not everybody. You can't do everything. You can't help everybody, but you can do something to help somebody.
Yeah.
Um, on that note, with "We'll Get You," you just said it earlier. And Don's probably gonna slap me next time I saw him, or next time I see him. But I ran with more heart than scars for tough. The last Tough Mudder we're probably gonna have in the Northwest for a while. Spartan, fix it now.
Fix
But
it.
fix it. They didn't pay the. From what I heard, they didn't pay the venue on time. But whatever, it's above my pay grade. Just Spartan, please, 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 please get us a Tough Mudder up here, please. That being said, um,
Wait, no more black mud?
no, unless
Oh.
they somehow beg the place to bring us, let us bring it back. The Black Mud was like the great thing of going there.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's a coal mine, guys. It's a coal mine.
it
Um,
is.
so we get to what's it called? The one with the spinning blocks. You know what I'm talking about?
Block Ness.
Thank you. I've always wanted to get over Block Ness.
I love Block Ness.
I get to where my feet are in the water. Now, the last time I got to Block Ness, I had my youth group with me back in 2018. That's the time where I actually got in the water. I got in the water and I started spinning that block and I started sending my kids over and my staffs over and they're, come on, Dad. Like, no, I'm too big. I'm too big. So I got out of the water. So we get into Block Ness this time and I started helping to spin the block. And no, actually, no, this time I was so chicken. I just got scared and got out. And Dawn's like, actually, I told Dawn the truth. I didn't say anything to anybody else. I said, I'm, Dawn's like, we can get you over. We can get you over this, Dave. And Dawn, this is part of going back to what you said about voices. All I hear is my dad in the back of my head telling me I'm too fat. All I hear is my dad or other people in the back of my mind telling me I'm too big for you to get me over that obstacle. And that's where I froze up and I had to get out of the obstacle. I was like panicking, like I got to get out of this. And part of it is maybe at trust issues. I don't know, but that's where I think my next big obstacle is overcome. Of I need to count on my team more to help me out to get over those things. Because there's a lot of these obstacles you don't, unless you're a cut stud, you don't get over them by yourself.
No.
Um,
That's the whole idea of Tough Mudder in many ways.
oh yeah, Spartan is getting that way, but they're slowly becoming that way. But like I got a guy from my team from Oscar Mike. The no, he was from Moorheart, and then he was running with us on Sunday during the sprint. And I figured I'm gonna try to go over hurdles, which I haven't been over hurdles in a while. I still can't go over it by myself. And he put a knee down, and I hopped up on his knee, and I threw my leg over, and then I started falling backwards. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I don't do this. Um, Now I could walk over and pick the apparatus up and just I could probably run the whole course with the apparatus on my arm,
Hmm.
but they won't let me deadlift it. But like going over walls and stuff, I've still not gone over walls by myself. I get to a wall and it's like I could run through the thing. They won't let me do that, and I feel
That'd be fun to watch, though.
it would be fun. I feel bad. Like I will apologize if somebody has to help me over an obstacle, like a wall. Like I'm sorry, I'm so big, I'm sorry, I'm so slow. And the people that have helped me are like, dude, I'm here to help you. Don't even worry about it. You're gonna throw me over something eventually. Paul LaChance, right?
Hmm.
So Paul and I were, I was his buddy for the sprint, and we get to the plate drag, and I actually pulled the plate faster than I've ever pulled it before. Like I got stronger, haha. And I zinged that over to the other side, grabbed it, pulled it back. Paul's like, "Hey, let's go." I'm like, "No, I'm gonna do it once more for you." And so I did it once more for Paul, and Paul's like, "Dang, really?" And I pull it back, and I'm just sitting there going, "Okay." So I helped him out, and he was totally chill with it. But we get to, we get to, oh gosh, what was it? Like the walls and such, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'll be here to help throw people over and catch." when in the back of my mind, it's like, I want to get over that eventually. Much I want to be able to do it myself, but that's what I'm working toward. But, you got to count on those people that are close to you, those people you're running with, those people you're running life with, and be there to lean on them as much as they're leaning on you. And of
Yeah.
course, I'm preaching to the choir here, and I'm preaching to myself too. But
It's the hardest to listen to yourself because I mean that was the one thing. I mean everyone knows, up until 2019, I was 310 pounds.
mhm,
So I mean I did the last Spartan I did, I was 310 pounds
yep,
and literally dislocated my shoulder 4 times during the beast because every time I tried to do a hanging obstacle, my shoulder wasn't strong enough to hold my weight.
mhm,
So
right,
it would just pop out. I would pop it back in and move on. So I
dang,
dislocated it 4 times during the race, and that was the race that pretty much I'm like, I can't do this anymore,
mhm,
And I've dropped down, but I mean, I gained back. I went back up. I'm 250 right now, a little less. I hit about 260 a couple months ago, and I've been training like actually right before we recorded this, I did 14 miles on the bike. So
nice,
I've been training hard trying to drop, but I'm actually weight's a pain in the butt to look at anyway because I'm not really losing right now, but everything's fitting differently.
right.
So so
Well, and that's
I'm
go ahead. Sorry.
I said it. So I think it's doing something because I'm doing the Ironman in April. I'm doing
Hmm.
the Galveston the 70.3, and what I haven't said officially on anything, but I'll say it here to you, Dave.
Hmm.
If I'm under 7 hours, I'm going to do the full in Florida
Okay.
in November of next
Nice.
year. So that's a full Ironman. So if I can get under 7 hours, that's my goal. I was at 850, so I'd have to
Hmm.
cut almost 2 hours. But if I can get under 7 hours, I'm just going to keep training and I'm going to go all the way. And then in November, I'm going to go for the full
Nice. How long is the full?
double. No, it's two. What is it? 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride,
Oh Lord.
and then you run a marathon.
Oh Lord. After the bike
So
ride?
yeah, so it's a total
Oh
of
Lord.
140 miles,
Yeah. No thanks.
140.6 miles in one go, and you have
Dang.
it's what is it? 18. I think it's 18 hours to finish it.
Wow. So which means you could be running ultras for fun.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
so that's my goal. I mean, I want to I want to get one done. I mean, right now in my brain, I'm thinking if I'm gonna do it, I got to do it now. So
Hmm.
I'm already training for a half, so might as well just keep going. But I want to. If I'm not under 7 hours, I don't know. But if I can get under 7 hours, I know that should put me in a spot that if I can continue that training, I should be able to finish the full.
That's true.
But that's how our
I,
brains work now. I mean, it's like one of those, like, that's why we look at the obstacles. Like, hey, here's a new one.
well, I did something equally crazy. So Yancey Culp, uh, when I got my significant health diagnosis, I'm not, we've talked about before, I'm not dying, but it's, stuff just enough to scare you.
Hmm.
Back in May, I, for some stupid reason, emailed him and Joe DeSena and just said, "Hey, I need accountability." And of course, Joe fires back, "No more junk food." I'm like, "Oh, okay, vegan boy." But anyway, Yancey, I got to give him a shout out. He has been phenomenal. He has been coaching me every Monday. I check in with him with my weight, how many days I've trained, my resting heart rate. He's been giving me advice, etc., telling me like his like kind of what I should look into. I've been working with my doctors and or my doctor and dietitian, etc. And I've dropped about 27 pounds since January. I was about 360 in January. I'm about 334 now and it's holding
Nice.
steady there. It's not dropping as much as it should, but people are already noticing a difference in me.
Yeah.
Well, my last Deca Fit, I got to see the Deca Fit Ultra, and I might have already talked about this on the podcast, but Yancey comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, did you get a PR?" I'm like, "Oh, about 2 minutes." He goes, "That's still a PR." I'm like, "Okay." How much from your first one in San Jose, which had happened 2 years before?
Hmm.
So he remembers when I was there 2 years before. I said, well, it's probably from when I looked at, it's probably 5, 6 minutes off of that. He goes, that's a PR, dude. Come on, celebrate. So uh, he says, you want to come back? next year and do the DecaFit Ultra. And I'm like, the what now? And the DecaFit Ultra, for those of you that don't know, it's the DecaFit event, the 5 kilometers of running plus the 10 zones, 5 times, and you have about 9 hours to do it. And I'm like, ugh, what? And we actually saw a guy. I think he's in the army. He actually did the DecaFit Ultra with a 20-pound ruck on, and he just did it and just kept going. So I bit the bullet this month, and I bought my ticket for
There you
Sacramento
go.
in May. And I told Yancey, I said, I am committed. He goes, how fast can you do a DecaFit? I said, about an hour 42 is my current time. He says, okay, if you can keep that pace, you can get an ultra done. Um, or you actually got to go faster because you got 9 hours to do it. So I have to go a little faster. But that's what I'm working on. I'm actually doing when I get done with this, I actually have to go back to the gym because I couldn't get my burpees done. But I've committed to doing 20 RAM burpees with my 55-pound roller every workout
Nice.
until May, until I go to DecaFit Ultra. And once I can get really good at the burpees and get them pushed out quickly, then I'll work on my reverse lunges, which are the ones that are a sticking point for me, and my box step ups, which are those are like the top three. And then if I can get those bumped out quickly, then I can reduce my time on the DecaFit and be able to get it done a whole lot faster. But like I still can't run very well yet. I did run for a few seconds in Florida, which the whole team was kind of shocked by. So that made me happy. So that was the first time I've done that in a while. Um, but it's, slowly but surely getting better and improving. But sometimes it takes a belief in yourself and a leap of faith to go, I'm just going to put a date on the calendar. I'm going to go get this done.
And
And
we've talked about this. Sometimes you need that. You need that date because if it's always like, oh, I can do one of those, it's always, but then all of a sudden you have a date and you're like, okay, I have to be ready for this in May.
right.
And that's kind of me. I'm doing the Ironman in April again. So I'm like, I got to be ready in April
Hmm.
to do this. So I mean, I put it on the calendar. Like these days, I'm going, in the morning before I go to work. I leave an hour early and I hit the gym, go swim for, at least 25, 30 minutes. Get, 1,000 to 1,500 meters in.
Hmm.
Twice a Tuesday and Thursday, I ride the bike. For an hour to 2 hours. And then Saturday, I ride the bike again. I do an actual like outside like 10K run on Sunday,
Hmm.
and then I run periodically throughout the week on the treadmill, but it's like shorter runs. But then I do longer ones, on Sunday. So
You
it's
got
like
that
you're
big ass
breaking it all out
backyard of
trying to.
yours. You got that big ass
What's
backyard
that?
of yours. That big ass backyard
I
of
do.
yours. You just go ahead and go around that.
I do, but right now it'd be like going down a Spartan course because it's all mud out there.
Oh, yeah, no joy. Um,
Yeah.
well, I was gonna ask you now, are you busy in let's see, where's my schedule at? 1 second here. I'll say you busy in March?
I don't know. What happens in March?
I'm coming down your way to run Spartan.
Oh, that's the Houston Spartan, isn't it?
It is the Houston Spartan.
I will be. I have to be at the Houston Spartan
Cool. Can I stay
because
at your house?
I will be running. I will be doing the teddy bear. I'm the lead for the teddy bear squirrel.
Okay, well, I'll be right there with you at the teddy bear course. But if you and your lovely wife got room, I would love to stay with you guys for the weekend if that's
We could
cool.
probably make a way. I have to work on a few things because my son's actually moving down in January, so he's taking the
Oh,
spare bedroom. But I think
I'll bring my
I can
tent
make
to sleep in
something.
the backyard. I'm fine with that.
We could do that. I mean, there's a garage. I mean, it's padded because I have it's a gym in there. You can just sleep in my
That's
gym.
true. That's true.
I have a cot that you can use and all sorts of stuff. We can make something work.
So for me, my race schedule is SoCal in January, Houston in March, San Jose in April. So while you're running your half, I'll be running that one. Um, May is DecaFit Ultra, then Colorado Springs the end of the month, which is gonna. I've still not finished the sprint in Colorado Springs. I've been out there twice, and get to the sprint, it's like I can't breathe. So I got to finish that one. My friend Mo's going to go out meet me out there, and she wants me to run with her. And Montana, I am going to try Montana in June. We're going to see if that works because I hear the course is a whole lot flatter than it was at Big Fork, but still with some elevation gain. Um, the end of the month in June, I'm going to one called Mud Factor, which is a little 5K, fun thing.
Yeah.
Because I've done it once before. August, I am going. And Adam Bergenheyer, if you're listening to this, buddy, I'm coming to see you. In August, I will be running the 4 hour Hurricane Heat at the first place I started the Hurricane Heat in Boise, Idaho, actually Payette, Idaho, at the same farm.
Nice.
And then right after that, I'll run the Beast, and then the whole trifecta weekend. And since I bought my Ultra Pass, I'll go to World Championships in Virginia, and then Seattle in September. I'll fly down for a day, do Orange County Stadion, Dallas Beast or Dallas trifecta in October, Phoenix trifecta in November, and I go back to Central Florida in December. So I'm on
Wow.
track for like 11 trifectas this year. We'll see if I can hit it. Um,
Yeah, pretty much right now the only I'm horrible next year because the only thing I've been so focused on the Ironman. I have I'll be doing the Houston trifecta weekend.
mhm.
Then I'm doing in April the half iron in Galveston. In June I will do go up to Washington for the Sisu 24 hour because I
Mhm.
freaking love the Sisu 24 hour. Um, and then probably back up 2 weeks later to do the Northwest Passage Ragnar.
Okay.
And other than that, I don't have anything else on my schedule unless I decide to do Florida Ironman in November. And then I think after the Ragnar, it's gonna be pretty much training my literally training my ass off to be ready for the Ironman.
Well, don't say that you're horrible because you're training for something that is like my whole schedule put into one. I
Yeah.
mean, so
It's gonna be one of those two, and it's one of those things I've told so many people. If I do this, if
mhm,
like I said, if I do this, this is gonna be a one and done. Because what I'm gonna have to do to train for this is gonna be
mhm.
insane. Because I mean it's you're looking, an 112 miles on the
That's a
bike.
bit. And you're only going what, 10 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour?
Depends on how good you're at. I mean, I'm hoping because what I'm looking at it's a one of the reasons I picked Florida
Flat.
because it's flat.
Right.
And that's the hardest part. That's one of the hardest things I'm having now. I live in Houston, is training anything for hills because I don't have any.
Right.
Every time you look at a hill around here, they're like, "Oh, let's go over here. It's a hilly route." I'm like, "We went up 150 feet in 8 miles.
That's it.
What hill?" You know, when
You're
I
not
when I did
from, you're not from around here, are you? But
yeah, when I did the Galveston Ironman in 54 miles, there was an elevation gain of 102 feet.
that's nothing.
And the only reason there was an elevation gain is because there was a bridge.
Wow.
And that was the elevation gain.
Dang.
And see, Florida is a lot like that, where Florida's, it's like, because it's right along the seawall, just like
Hmm.
it is here in Galveston. So I've got to, I want to shave that 2 hours. And I know where that 2 hours is. It's in the bike.
Right.
If I can shave the bike and then by getting better at the bike, I'm going to get better at my cardio to get better at the run. So I'm really focusing hard on the bike and the swim because I got to survive the swim at least.
Now, do you get to wear life jackets in the swim or anything
No.
floaty? Or
Nope.
okay.
You, I wear a wetsuit mainly
Hmm.
because it helps me float a little bit and gives
Sure.
me that little bit of, it makes me feel sleek. But, and what's nice is that the Galveston, they said they weren't going to be there, but they did have strippers. So that was cool. And not that kind of strippers. But
No, you need to clarify.
in a
Clarify.
triathlon, a
Yeah.
stripper is basically when you're wearing a wetsuit. When you get
Uh-huh.
out, they strip the wetsuit off of you.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. So they help you out
So
of it.
they help you get out of the wetsuit because that's the hardest part sometimes is like trying to get out of the wetsuit.
Mm.
So they will strip you out. I mean, they hit it. They got me so good last time when they pulled it off. They actually like moved my Garmin to the next like section. Because like on
Oh,
my Garmin for trifactor or for not
yeah.
trifactor for triathlon, you hit
Yeah.
the button to switch to the from swim
Okay.
to transition. They actually turned it, put me in transition by pulling it off so hard. They actually hit the
Oh,
button.
jeez. Wow. Well, I guess that's convenient.
It was
Good.
slightly violent. I mean, I was kind of, I'm like, wow, it's the most action I've gotten in a while. Whoa.
Okay, then. Fantastic.
But
So I
no, I
take
mean,
I take it you're not running
it,
World's Toughest next year.
what?
I take it you're not
No,
doing
because I can't go. I would love to because I would love to go to Beaver Castle, which I don't know how it's pronounced Beaver, but that's how you pronounce it.
Beaver Castle. Where's that?
Yeah, it's in London.
World's toughest is in London next year?
Yes.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's in London. It's at Beaver Castle, even though it's spelled Boilver or something like that. But they're like, it's pronounced Beaver, and I'm like,
No, that's not. Okay, weird. It's like Boulevard, but okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's
And well,
not
it
going to
was
be
the person that was telling us was English. So
okay. Well, that's
apparently,
good.
it's where a lot of the races, the world's toughest are in, not world's toughest, but the toughest are in England or in this spot. So
So they're good. So let me get this straight. They're going to have world's toughest out of the States and in England, but they're going to have the Spartan Trifecta World Championships out of Sparta, Greece, and in West Virginia. Okay.
yeah, one of the rumors that I've heard, because we hear rumors occasionally,
Oh, yeah.
is they're going to start swapping them. So
No,
what'll
I've
happen
heard
is
I've heard that
like,
too.
yeah. So if world's toughest is in Europe or in another country, then this try and or trifecta the trifecta championships will be in the U.S.
Right.
So and then when they switch it back to world's toughest being here, it'll go back to Greece.
Okay. Yeah, I heard that when I was in Greece. I'm on a mission myself for 26 to go back to Greece. Um, but I want to see, unless they change the rules on me, I want my shield. In 26, when I go back with Oscar Mike, I want my shield. And even if I have to get a voucher for my shield, they send me later, I want to have earned my shield.
Yeah,
And I don't know how the heck I'm going to do that because I don't want to travel. I mean, I got to work. I don't want to travel to a bunch of foreign countries to get my shield. But maybe it means I've got to try a couple different trifecta weekends here in the States. But I think you can. I don't know if you have to have 13 trifectas by the time you get to trifecta worlds, or if that can be your 13th.
I think from what I heard from people that can be your 13th.
You can, okay. So I can
I
get to.
think.
I should be at 10 or 11 this year. If I can hit 11 this year, I can hit 12 next year before November, and make that my 13th. But I want to attempt to get my shield because that would be a culmination of a whole lot of effort.
Yeah,
And there's a certain particular mountain outside of Sparta, Greece that needs to have me and that mountain need to have a discussion. So
well,
it's
you better
the
get back there and kick that mountain's ass.
it's the one where I fell
Yeah,
and I fell right on my backside to the point where my hip still hurts a little bit from it. And that was maybe 2 months ago because I fell that hard. And Laura Flynn, part of my team, she we're talking in Florida, and she said something to the effect of, "Were you that guy that was yelling it's Grease during the Beast?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Yeah, when the whole team went, got took our athlete across the way because I was slower than them, and I told them to go out and out me." She goes, "Yeah, I heard somebody just screaming bloody murder." I'm like, "Yeah, that was me." And they were maybe a mile or two ahead of me at this point. And she's like, "My God, we heard you all the way that far." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm
yeah.
pretty loud,
Dave
but
can be loud when he wants.
it hurt a lot." But
Yeah,
that's okay. And I, I, yeah, that's one of my goals. And then um, I also would like to go do the farm experience there at Joe's farm. I can't do it this next year because I've got my next motorcycle expedition coming up to the Arctic Circle in July.
yeah,
Uh, but I also don't want to go get the crap kicked out of me at the farm. I don't want it to be a mini death race because I hate the death race. I think it's utterly stupid. Um, I was in boot camp already. I don't need to go do it again.
yeah.
Uh, but I've been told, I got told several times in Florida that you got to come do Joe's farm experience. Like, if he needs manual labor working on his farm, just, whatever. But I don't need to go do it for him. But there's a
That's what it
couple,
seems like.
huh?
That's what it seems like.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I didn't see any like costs on the thing either, but I don't need to fly all the way to Vermont to have him kick the crap out of me for 2 days. I can do that myself here just fine. Um, I did get an invite to it last year, the first time they put it on, and I'm like, that'd be great. However, I'm getting on the bike and heading to Route 66 in Chicago like 3 days later. That's not happening. And so I was grateful for the invite, but I couldn't make the time work.
Well,
Um,
no, because too, if you were going to the bike 3 days later, he's gonna kick your ass while you're on the farm, and you're gonna barely be able to move.
oh yeah, I was like I couldn't even fly home at that point.
All right.
Um, so the one thing I this is coming up this next year that I would love to go do, but there's just no way I don't think I could do it physically yet. Is he's got this he calls it the March of the 300 or the Agoge 300, and he announced his idea that he announced at Trifecta Worlds, and it was he wanted to get 300 people to show up to Sparta, Greece, November of next year, and go on an Agoge with him. Um, I don't know how. I told him I'd help recruit for it. I don't know how that was going to work because all the Agogis I've read about were like maybe 50 people max on a good day.
Mhm.
But it'd be an experience. It'd be you'd be marching in the hills of ancient Sparta and that kind of thing. But then again, it's a matter of the cost benefit. If it's 70 plus miles over 3 days, and it's like what 20 at least 25 miles a day, and I don't know if I can keep up with that yet. But maybe some. It's always yet. You can't do it
Yet,
yet.
yet. Hey, I mean that's the one thing we got. I mean, we can train and we can get there. It's just a
Oh yeah.
matter, getting there. So,
But
yeah.
I gotta think I gotta thank Oscar Mike for all their support. More Heart Than Scars, BeastNet, you, Don, um,
Always. Your
my,
family.
yeah, too. My buddy Brent, who the fallible man who got me started in all this. Because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing any of this. I would have gave up a long time ago. And um, you put a fire in me to continue bettering myself, not just mentally. And of course, my church challenges me on the spiritual end, uh, but be better myself physically and not be okay with where I'm at physically. And I've gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And from the time I started, I look at a picture of me in 2016 when I started till now. I couldn't even imagine doing a beast 8 years ago, even walking.
Yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, I can go bust that out. Um, I may not get every obstacle done, but I can at least get the mileage done and then do what I can. I did one. Speaking of that, the armor
Hmm.
obstacle. Okay, so normally I was looking at a picture of myself at the Beast in Seattle in 2018, I think it was, and I did a suitcase carry with the ball, and I could barely move it to where it had to go. Like I could barely get that. And I'm leaning all the way over just to keep this ball from crushing my feet.
Yeah.
When I got out there with Oscar Mike, I walked over and looked at that and I'm like, let's try something. So I grabbed one and okay, and I grabbed the other one and I pick it straight up and I walked to the end and I walked back and I felt perfect. I did the
Yeah.
same thing in Arizona. I put them down. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
proof.
I mean, and that's it. I mean, it's one of those things. It's my friend Jesse says all the time, always forward. And
Well,
that's one of the things that I've tried very hard in my brain. And one of the things on those days when I'm getting like really down on myself and having issues, and I'll just think in my brain, always forward. What can I do to move forward? What can I do to make myself better today? And that's one of the things I got to do sometimes. And it's that always forward. And you look back and you're like, oh, wow, look where I was. That's why sometimes, like, when I lost weight a few years back when I was losing weight, and I had a picture on my desk of me at my biggest. And everyone's like, why don't you really place that picture? I'm like, because every day when all of a sudden I'm like, I don't think I want to work out today. I'll look down and
yeah,
I'll see that picture on my desk and be like, no,
kind of move.
I need to go work today. So I
Mm-hmm.
need work. There's work to do because I don't want that to be who I am anymore. I don't want to be defined as that person anymore. You
Hey,
know?
did you ever notice when you were 310 pounds and you were on a Spartan course? You've been racing for a little bit, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
started in 15.
Did you ever have those people on the course go, "Oh, is it your first race?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I got another friend of mine, and she's on the same journey that I'm on, that we're on, and she's we were talking about that the other day, and she's like, "Yeah, that's freaking annoying." Like, yeah, I know. And when I had a couple people pass me. Actually, it wasn't so bad in Florida. It was more in Arizona, but I just completed my 105th Spartan race. So, it's like, and there's some people got a lot more than I got. A Tom Manning, hint, hint. But Mr. What is he like 500 races now or some junk?
Something like that.
But I love that guy. But like when I say Spartan race number 104, here I go. What? This is like my third one. I'm like, don't make assumptions just because I'm bigger than you are.
Hmm.
Don't make assumptions that you think you're more athletic than me just because I'm bigger than you are. I've not been out here for 105 races now. And that's just Spartan. That's not Tough Mudder, Rugged Maniac, Warrior Dash, etc., etc. Or in your case, Iron Man's.
But what
Um,
always amazes me too is when you're big and all of a sudden you do one of the obstacles and the way they look at you like, what? Like, I mean, even when I was 310, if
mhm.
my shoulder would hold, I mean, at that end when my shoulder was really messed up and I started having issues, I could do monkey bars. I could still do bender.
Dang, that's impressive.
And it was when I would get people look at me like, all of a sudden we like came up to Bender and like I can't remember who we were with someone on a race and they're like, oh well, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And I'm like, how about you kiss my ass? And I jumped up because of the way I do it normally is I'll climb with just my hands and then once I get about to the third or fourth rung, I'll swing a leg up. But I
Yeah,
climbed
you
up and
can.
the guy's looking at me like, I'm like, hey, don't assume just because I'm a big boy. I mean, I have really strong arms because I am a big boy,
Yeah,
you
that's where
know.
I want to get to is that. But I had
And I
one
had
guy. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was say I had a friend when we bent. They first Bender was what I think 16 or 17 when Bender first came out,
Something like that. Yeah.
and I can remember the first time like one of my friends was just terrified. So
Mm-hmm.
I climbed up and then literally had her kind of climb up next to me, and then I came around behind her, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
holding on to it. So I'm behind her. So she falls back, I'm there, and holding her. And I mean, it's one of those things. Even when I was bigger, I could still do. I could still do those. In fact, it's actually how I hurt my arm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
was Montana. In the year that I dislocated my shoulder, I started in Montana because I was pulling myself up and over a wall, and I tore my bicep and my
Ooh,
pec.
ouch.
Yeah, and it was on like the wall was like obstacle number two
All right.
in the
I
beast.
love
So I
that.
did the rest of the beast, and like, yeah, my right arm doesn't work.
I do monkey bars, but I can't move my right arm.
Yeah, I can't. It's done.
We had one guy out at Dallas one year. I want to say it was 2017 or 2018, the first year I went to Dallas. And all I was doing was a sprint, I think, or a super or something. And I was on the sprint at least, and I'm dead. I'm like, I can't get over that wall. There's no freaking way. It's an 8 foot wall. I'm not gonna go over it. And this guy, and no, I think it was one of my first trifecta weekends because I actually did because this guy ran the ultra, and this dude was like 6'2", cut to no end, V shape, just a little stud muffinette guy. No, man, come on, I'm gonna get you over this wall. Let's go. And he basically grabs my fat behind and pushes me over that wall. And I get over to the other side, and he flips around to come catch me. And I grab the top of the wall and I lower myself down, and then I lose my hands, and I fall backwards. And he grabs me, and I'm in tears because I'm like, "Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I'm so fat." He's like, "Dude, it's cool. You got over it. I helped you. It's cool. Keep going." And that was one of the experiences I had on a wall where I actually got over it. But it takes you allowing yourself to be served by that other person to and not be scared to get over it because there's people that are going to catch you. If you fall off of it, they're going to help you.
Mhm.
Um, and eventually you get to the point where you can walk up to a wall and do it yourself, you know?
And I think it's one of those things is people like, you and everything like that that serve others
Mhm.
are the hardest ones to accept service.
Yep, that is true.
You're like, I'm the helper. I'm not the one who gets helped. I help others. And it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, but sometimes you got to step back and say, hey, I need the help. And I think that's the hardest thing for some of us. For like me, like I'll talk to you, I'll talk to everyone else about everything that's going on in their lives. And my life could be a complete dumpster fire right behind us, and I'm never going to say a word because that's just how my brain works. I mean, like, well, that's my dumpster fire. I'll deal with my dumpster fire. Let's help these people here, you know. And that's just always how my brain works. It's like, oh no, I don't need that help. They do.
Well, you know I always got your back regardless.
Oh, I know
All
you do.
right.
So we've been going for a bit here, but I did want to bring up one thing before we leave. So
But
do I hear the rumors that you're going to start doing your own?
on my own what? My own podcast?
Yeah.
It's a consideration. It's something I'm in discussion with my partner teams about. Hint,
Hmm.
hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Bob Jernkel.
Yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
it's just a matter of timing and content and, you know, um, yeah, Don and I have got a meeting set up to start discussing that. The first iteration I did was just me talking and a lot of ums and uhs and uhs and ums.
It takes
And
a while. Go back and listen to the original, the first like year of these now. There's a lot of mine is and then what's the other one? I can't remember. Don for a while was like editing them out, and then finally it was like I'm done with it.
all right. But that's something I'm considering in 26 or 25 rather of partnering with BeastNet to spin up a companion, if you will, called the Common Man OCR podcast. And kind of my initial thought is just talking to, regular folk that are out on the courses
Yeah,
and get their take on where they're at. I would love to actually interview some of like the More Heart Than Scars, the Oscar Mike athletes, if they're cool with that. And or the Team Blue Four, which is another one I've got exposed to in Florida. And just kind of get their take on it and just talk to regular people, the people that aren't you guys, I mean, you guys talk to regular folks too, but talk to
yeah.
people that are just out there running the course who aren't your Amelia Boones or your Hobie Calls or whatever. And That's old school OCR. Wow. But
But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you. I know you do. But Be able to talk to people that are just average everyday folk out there on the course, and kind of get their take on to motivate other people to get off the couch and you know do what we can in that regard. So those discussions are ongoing. We'll revisit it in January
Nice.
after the holidays and go from there. So
Nice. The one thing that I found is like it's been inspiration to me too because I will, like you said, talk to the. It's really neat when you get to talk to like a Rose. I've talked to Rose a couple times. I love Rose. Talk to someone like that. Um, and you hear their story, but it's also really neat sometimes when you talk to someone and you find out like their journey is not much different than yours.
right, exactly.
Like it might be somebody who you're looking up to, like this person's a stud, they're amazing, they're doing good, and then all of a sudden you find out that, they graduated high school at, 340 pounds.
Hmm.
And then something changed in their life and they took this journey and you're like, oh, if they can do it, and I think that's one of the things that's helped me a lot of the ways is talking to people like that and getting those stories that you don't see the back. You just think, oh, this person, you don't see that hard work.
Well,
Like you were talking
even
about your friend that, is the girl that's just a beast.
mhm.
We don't see the hard work that she does in the background. We know, I mean, if she's, cut and lifting and doing all that
she's
amazing stuff, she's probably working her butt off in the background,
she
but we
is.
don't see that.
Mhm.
All we see is what people post on Facebook of like, oh, hey, look at how ripped I am and how great I am. And it's like,
But see,
how did you
that was the
get
nice
there?
thing. That was the nice thing about the discussion with her. It wasn't because I've known a lot of people over my time that have been like, yeah, I'm ripped, I'm cut. Look at me. You go down to my gym and you can see people posing in the mirror.
Yep.
But my discussion with her, and I'm not trying to brown like Sarah, if you listen to this, I am not trying to brown nose you there, ma'am. But uh, it was not that way. It was like
Yep.
you don't see what I had to go through to get there. I don't post my failures. And like,
Yep.
okay, that's humility down. That makes me very happy about knowing this person. I look at on that note real quick, Amelia Boone. Amelia Boone has been an OCR hero of mine for a while. And when I got started in OCR, I first met her back in 2017. And world champion, Tough Mudder, Spartan, et cetera, et cetera. And the girl, I mean, she's beautiful, a beautiful lady. But again, an absolute stud muffin. And she never really came across like I'm all that in a bag of chips. But you're like, man, she's so cool. I wish I could run like her. I wish I could do the obstacles like she does, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out a couple years later that she pulled herself out of OCR and everything athletic because she had an eating disorder. And she did not, and I don't know all the details because I just
All
know
right.
what she published. But you see the work, and she was very. public about the work that she did to come back from that. And I've
Hmm.
got a thousand more percent respect for her because she wasn't defined by what had happened. She saw it as an obstacle and saw a way to get through it and made herself better through it. And it's just an inspiration to the journey that I'm on, the journey everybody else is on. Um, you look at
I think it's amazing when I was saying, I think it's amazing when we see those people that we idolize as, amazing and these idols, and then to find out that they're human. I think
yeah,
one of the biggest
exactly.
ones for me, like it was very similar to that, was Simone Biles when
Yep.
she stepped out of the Olympics. Because of she was having mental health issues and everything like that. She stepped away from the Olympics because she knew she was having issues and she needed to get herself right, and then was able to
Mhm.
work herself back,
Absolutely. And
which
she's
is
like the world.
which to me makes her like even more like amazing to me because it's
Mhm.
like you saw the problem, you stepped back, even though there were so many people that called her horrible things for it.
Mhm.
But she stepped back and said, "I need to work on my mental health," and then stepped back in and was able to do it. It does help too that she's actually from the town that I live in now. But
Well, yeah. It also shows you that if they can go through that stuff,
mhm.
think about the other side better, you can too.
Yep.
So it's been real. It's been fun, my friend. I can't wait for the next time we get to talk.